Paradonikus, do you think that the revived series will eventually get re-released with updated VFX and CGI like the classic series Blu-ray were? Probably not. Many of the effects, believe it or not, are actually pretty good, like, and will stand the test of time. Like, even stories like The End of the World from 2005, that still holds up visually now, because the art direction is so strong, and they use their resources so well. Like, Cassandra genuinely looks good, like, now. There may be some aspects that could, be touched up and fixed a little bit, like maybe some odd green screening here, maybe the beginning of the Halloween apocalypse or something, but really, I think it'll be fine. I don't think they'll require, unless there's, like, some infamously terrible CGI that has been, like, ridiculed from day one of broadcast, which, honestly, off the top of my head, I can't quite recall any. I'm not sure. Probably not. Probably not. You could do a Bolstrek, though, and just be like, oh, let's blame all the black people for the CGI of this show and then just call it a day. But I'd like to think we're a little bit more constructive than that. Ollie Thomas Music says Mickey in the bin. But that's something that we kind of look back as, that's a little bit cheesy now, but is that actually bad? Was that bad at the time? Probably not. Maybe not for standard definition television. And people are saying the Lazarus experiment, like, I'm going to do something that could risk my channel getting shut down again, okay? I will defend the Lazarus experiment, okay? This thing looks bad now because it's blurred and in motion and stuff, but it is actually, in my humble opinion, not that bad. Like that, honestly, you can say whatever you want about the design and the creative ethos, whatever, but I don't think this is in terms of actual rendering, in terms of the fidelity and stuff. And like one thing I want to quickly point out as well, that I really is this the take that gets me cancelled? Like, watch the camera whenever it stomps. Like, it feels like it has a sense of place. It feels hefty. It feels like it's there. No? People, is this what ends me? Dr. Bonnie, it was nice knowing you. Looks like he does look like a Resident Evil boss. The face probably needs a bit of work, maybe. Okay, I'll concede that point. But the actual creature itself, the body, I should say, I think looks pretty good. It does feel like it has a sense of place in that environment. Let's have a quick look at that running down the corridor shot. Defrosted Roll, is this it? My death, 10th Mr. TARDIS. Professor Curious, Sarah Jane had better CGI in my opinion. I think that's nostalgia talking. I've recently watched that finale with the Brigadier, the Series 2 finale, and yeah, that CGI is not very good. If you compare that to this, honestly, it's night and day. Compared to, like, the Lazarus experiment. There's obviously a lot of motion blur that's doing a lot of the heavy lifting here. But I think because the camera angles, like, that upside down angle, that is a really good creative decision, I think. Keep that camera moving. Keep it moving, not just in terms of, like, its position on this particular axis, but also just moving it upside down and moving it towards the roof. That was an incredibly good creative decision to make that creature look better than it ideally does. If you were to just see, like, a pure, like, T-posed version of it and spun it around, it would probably look quite pants. But I think what they do with it in terms of the actual... Who directed this? I demand to know who's responsible for this. Richard Clark. Richard Clark did The Doctor's Wife. And Gridlock. Gridlock is a good-looking episode as well. There we go. I think they look good. Russell TH and T-posing Lazarus sounds horrifying. Maybe. People saying that it looks bad. I've never seen it. Obviously, it's so subjective, of course, like people's sight and vision and preference and stuff. But for me, the Lazarus creature has always looked good. In terms of its CGI fidelity, the creature itself looks kind of crazy. Fall of the 11th says, what about the chicken dinosaur in Series 5? The Lazarus creature, unironically, looks better than the Crephaeus from Vincent and the Doctor, and I will plant my flag there, okay? I will plant my flag there. I don't think the Lazarus experiment is a particularly good story, but I've liked the creature from day one. Fall of the 11th, what about the Series 1 Slitheen running? Yeah, let's go to that real quick. And I just realised if I Google World War III, I'm not going to find Doctor Who. I'm going to find the apocalypse, aren't I? So obviously, real people running. This bit I never bought. This looks worse than the Lazarus Experiment, okay? And it's the fact that the Slitheen calls back and the Slitheen behind it very quickly enters the frame. And it makes you wonder, were they really that far behind? Like, look, like they're in spitting distance of each other. Sophie Bunn says they do not look worse than the Lazarus Experiment. I will burn this fandom to the ground if I have to. Let me know if there's any other VFX moments in current Doctor Who that you want me to react to. H.R. Wrigley, CGI Slitheen move way too fluidly considering how stifled their costumes look. Yeah, that's 100% true, because especially, there is actually a scene when the Slitheen is running down the corridor, and it's like that, but when it actually gets to this wide shot, what I will say is that the Slitheen breaking down this door, pretty cool effect. Okay, it actually feels, and there's a bit of debris there, raw, and it does this, but this is night and day. This is night and day what the actual Slitheen costume moves like. Tooth and Claw from Series 2. This is a story that has obviously a way bigger budget because it's a more successful, like, it had proven itself to the BBC. Let's invest a bit more money into this. So let's find the werewolf. Now, this, I think, still holds up in a 2006 TV CGI capacity. And it also helps that a lot of this episode is at night. But a lot of the great bits from this werewolf transformation is the actor who plays the werewolf. They did some CGI on his skin, so it looks like it looks like a painful transformation. This shot, there we go. This looks good. Like with the sound effects as well, and the breaking of the bones and the morphing of the bones in the face. This transformation looks really good. Fall of the 11th says it's a mix of practical and CGI. It is. I think the CGI is doing most of the predominant heavy lifting here. And Robin McGinn, we can't compare it to an American Werewolf in London. Anything's going to look bad compared to American Werewolf in London. But yeah, because the use of the shadows as well, and this won't be makeup. I think this will be CGI here. But it's still reacting to the shadow. Like, that's a great bit of detail. This looks a little bit more janky because we're a little bit further, and Hermes is right, rendered in standard definition. Yeah, this looks a little bit weird, but then again, he is transforming into a werewolf. But it's still reacting to the shadow of the cage. I think there's one off CGI shot of the werewolf, and it's at the end of the corridor. This looks a bit off. He's floating in place, but that interaction with the door did look pretty good. What's interesting, though, is that you'd think the distant shot would look way better than the close-up, but it's the exact opposite here, I think. Although you can tell this was massively colour-corrected because of how grainy this footage is. But yeah, this is a good close-up. This looks good, in my opinion. And I think one of the best-looking shots, because this is once again what we talked about with the Lazarus Experiment, is just great direction. This shot of the I think this is a green screen. I think this is a green screen David Tennant. And they've added in these elements to make him look like he's actually part of the environment. And the wolf is on the other side. I will get rid of my webcam. This, firstly, even if it looked pants, is just great shot composition. This is just a great shot to see on TV in 2006. But the fact that the werewolf actually does look good on top of it, that's pretty cool. That looks really cool. Faulty TARDIS, Ice Warrior face revealing Cold War. Okay, let's go for it. Oh, actually one really cool shot. Like these particle effects around the Ice Warrior. Like this is not in camera. This will be CGI, but it adds so much ambience. This is a pretty cool shot anyway, because it shows the scale of the Ice Warrior. But the fact that they've added these particles after the fact, that looks really cool. TFL Creator Media, the Cyber Mats in closing time. Go to my Steve Hughes interview for the closing time Cybersember. We talk a bit about filming of the Cyber Mats, where I think there's maybe only one or two shots where it is a CGI Cybermat. The rest of the time it is practical. Here we go, the helmet lift. Now, the fidelity here is not great, but I think what sells it is the way that the Ice Warrior's head interacts with the helmet while it's lifting. James the Brony says that Ice Warrior CG reveal does not work, for me anyway. I don't think the effects are great, but I think it feels like it exists in its own world because it feels like it's lived in and real because it interacts with that helmet. That it feels like this is something he does not often he doesn't unmask often. I don't know how I feel about this design, but the fact that at least there is a sense of logic and physics and coherency is good. TFL Creator Media, why is the Dr. Sonic red here? Because he's about to start World War III and it's symbolic. And, you know, it's not the best looking in terms of fidelity, but this is not a lifeless face. It is moving and twitching. Sophie Bunn says it's very quick, so I don't mind it. The bit that doesn't quite work for me in Cold War is when the Ice Warrior is in the ceiling. And it's like these tiny little prosthetic hands that look like they could be little litter picker grabbers. The World War III setting on the Sonic. Yep, there we go. Setting for everything. Faulty TARDIS, the Sonic is famous. The famous red setting is mentioned by River Song. Didn't realize the red setting was the World War III setting. This is obviously trying really, really hard to mask the effect with the darkness and the steam and everything. It's not the best, but it's trying really, really hard. Chicken feet. Coward Jude sums it up. Chicken feet. Is there anything else you want me to take a look at in terms of like VFX? Oh, Captain Rex of the 501st, Series 9 CGI Dalek in Skara reveal scene. Yeah, we're doing that one. I know exactly which bit you mean as well. I've never understood this shot. Firstly, the Dalek is obviously a CGI Dalek, but whatever. But it's in the middle of this rock pile. How is it moving? Where did it come from? Where is it going? Like, look. It's in the middle of a rock pile. Where is it going? And I know these Daleks can fly, but why land in the middle of a rock pile? So everyone says, why do they even need CGI for this? No idea. They could have just got one of these Daleks in a green screen. But it's not hovering. You can see, like, the level and the shadows of the rock. And, like, you know, good attention to detail. But why? I think the rocks are here to disguise maybe a really bad CGI bottom. But maybe zoom in a little bit. I don't know. There's got to be a better way around this. But I'm not a CGI artist. Look how high up the dome lights are. What's wrong with the dome lights? That's a point. Why are they... Yeah, they seem a bit high up. Maybe that's just what the classic series models look like, though. Lee New, hashtag CGI bottom. Tell you what, this Dalek here, this Dalek had plot armor, being able to capture Clara and Missy whilst being stuck in a rock pile. Right, this is worse than anything in Eve of the Daleks, like, make no mistake, okay? This is fun. I'm really... Remorium says, oh no, actually even Dalek prop enthusiasts were confused about the dome light placing. I mean, honestly, if you're looking at this shot and the thing that sticks out to you first is the dome light placing, that says something about how you view Doctor Who, and I respect it, okay? But this rock placement always threw me. This was so weird. I will take good CGI recommendations as well. Or Harry Donican, let's talk about the Reapers in Father's Day. This is the most fun stun lock I've ever had on Doctor Who, like, live streams. And then we'll talk about the Rebel Flesh, because that seems to be a popular one. The Reapers are a mid-2000s CGI creation, through and through. This doesn't look too bad, though. Like, good use of motion blur. And I also think the design, that striking silhouette, and the fact that it's a design that, yeah, that looks intimidating and cool and awesome. Like the wingspan and everything and the scythe, that looks cool. The red eyes as well. And I think the points as well. Even though it has a big wingspan, the pointy design of the face and the brow and everything draws your eye straight to the middle of it. And while your eye is at the middle of the design, it opens up and it's like, surprise, bam. A surprise flasher. The Reaper is on some sort of register. So yeah, that looks really cool. But one cool bit, and I remember them talking about it on Doctor Who Confidential, is this attack. This guy gets completely destroyed, but watch the grass on the floor as the Reaper's wings tear into the guy. Let me get my webcam off again. See, he tears into the grass. The Reaper tears into the grass. That's so cool. You could have lost that detail completely and not missed it, but the fact that it's there shows that the the Mill who did the effects in 2005, yeah, they were on it. That's great. Actually, while we're on the Reapers, there's one cool detail similar to the grass, but that's CGI as well. But there's a really cool shot similar to that when the Reapers are like climbing around the church, and one of them starts like wiping its wing on the side of the church, and you can see it do actual damage to the church. That's a really cool shot. If and when I turn this into a segment, I'll put that clip up. Let's find, what was it? It was season 6, wasn't it? The Almost People. Now, what's really disappointing about this particular creature is that the first shot of its introductory scene is genuinely creepy, because it's all done in camera, it's like great lighting and atmosphere, but the actual creature itself looks very bad. To be fair, I like the pile of jennies on the floor. That's a cool concept. Here we go. This is one of the best shots of Series 6. That is so cool. Like, imagine just having the confidence, of course, of before you maybe have even seen the prosthetics and the makeup, and saying, we are going to go this close to it, make sure this detail holds up under scrutiny. That is an incredible shot. And the eyes and the contacts, like, that's a great melding of cinematography, makeup, and performer. Incredible stuff. But the actual creature, you go from that shot to this, and it, oh boy, this is looking rough. Let's change the focus so we can keep blurring out the background. Okay. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear. And I always remembered the death of the creature being a very dodgy effect as well. Oh my. Oh boy. Oh. Okay. Look at that thing. Oh. And then acids on them, and then they just fizzle. It doesn't look good. That did not look good. Here we go. This is the funny bit as well, when she fires her laser. There we go. Oh. And the pile of jennies in the corner is a really cool image, but the actual compositing of it, they do look like JPEGs floating on top of clothing items. Yeah, and that run towards, oh boy, that's rough. A lot of cool ideas conceptually. I would love to see like a graphic novel adaptation of Rebel Flesh Almost People. That would look incredible. Now suddenly, in comparison, my take that the Lazarus Experiment creature doesn't look too bad looks a little bit more reasonable now in retrospect, doesn't it, ladies and gentlemen? It's also the fact that that creature doesn't seem to have much bearing on anything else visually in the episode. It seems like this might actually be more of an inherent design issue rather than like a fidelity issue of the CGI. Like the fact that the creature, I forget the name of the character, just looks like nothing else in this episode. There's no other imagery that I can remember from this episode looking like that. Russell Jetson says, why is she now a horse? No idea. Jenny. Are people saying Jenny? As if I love my chat. You folks remember the name of this character from the Rebel Flesh and the Almost People. Oh, here we go. This is an effect. Like, we're talking, of course, a lot about creatures and a lot about heavy CGI and stuff. This is just good, what would you call it, compositing, where it's just they filmed these kids going around the park multiple times, and they've just duplicated it and melded it all together. And considering, like, of course, the overcast weather and everything, and I think it might have been even raining on the day that this was filmed, melding these together would be easier said than done. But yeah, that's a cool effect, but it's something that, you know, might get overlooked a little bit. It's just cool imagery. Alex Rooney Composer, the repeated children thing was really smart. Yeah, that's really cool. Here we go. Content warning, okay? This is Elon Musk's ex-wife, okay? This is exactly his type. There we go. Now, this I think on the face of it, must have been on the face of it, it's probably a really simple effect to do compared to stuff that we've seen before, where I think they might have just done a Photoshop equivalent and just like pulled and twisted, kind of like the Super Mario 64 face on the Nintendo 64, where you're able to distort him. I think it's that. Clobos is popping in again. Have I missed Asmund talk? Sorry, we've been stun locked for about 30 to 40 minutes talking about and reacting to CGI in Doctor Who. So I apologize. This is my fault entirely. Oh, I always really liked this. Just because I think David Tennant really embodies the action hero Doctor, where I think they've just recycled elements from the Time Vortex. Like, that just looks cool. It's just a really cool pose. Although I think him sort of clicking and dragging into the corner of the shot never quite looked great, but the rest of it looks really cool. Aidan Woodhead, we won't even get around to 40 at this rate. Oh god, I am meant to talk about 40, aren't I? Right, we've been stun-locked for long enough. Okay, we might have to make this a regular segment, okay? But right, that was it. Okay, I've stopped. I promise. That was it. Folks, if you enjoyed that and you want to see me do stuff like that again, hit the like button, subscribe of course, and I will also, we also got a super chat during that segment about that, so let's do this again. So High Voltage with a £8.99 super chat.
Wonderful chap. All of them.
I know some monsters would be impossible without CGI, but I think overall practical effects hold up better over time, in modern Doctor Who anyway. Yeah, like, also when compared to great sound design and shot composition, like the Autons in Rose, that's just the first example that came to my head for that question. That's a practical costume, but you combine it with the sound design of the twisting, creaking plastic, it looks way better and holds up way more than the Nestine Consciousness, like blob lava, like in the middle of like that underground base or whatever that was. But you still get really cool effects like the destruction of Big Ben, which is a practical effect which is enhanced by CGI. Cassandra, however, is something you'd never be able to do, at least make it look particularly convincing for a practical effect. But they still did have like a practical stand-in. There's even one shot where it's still there. And oh my god, the stun lock never ends. This green screen probably isn't the best, but because it's such a bright image being chromed in, they're able to get away with it. But yeah, I think it's when she's like, oh, I'm going to have a quick chat with Michael Jackson. Scott Gerard, Mr. TARDIS, it's now February. Oh no, it's happened. Here we go. Yeah, this is what they had on set. This, like, cardboard or plastic version of Cassandra to give the actors and the cast members to know what it would look like. Defrosted Robot 77 says that Michael Jackson joke aged not great. Yeah, kind of like in Aliens of London, she says, oh, that's so gay. Oh no, we have to do one more, and I'm so sorry, it's because Cyberman Alpha has brought this up in the chat, and it's, once you've noticed this, you will never unnotice it, okay? There's a shot in Midnight where they just forgot the effects and David Tennant is just standing in front of a green screen. It's in the first minute of the episode. So, David Tennant on the set of Midnight. So, David Tennant is on a set here in front of a green screen so they can get this bus here, okay? That's it. We know he's on this set, okay? However, taking a big space bus across a diamond planet called Midnight, that's the green screen. That's the green screen. They haven't got rid of it. And this is the last shot before the pre-titles. Once you've seen it, you can now no longer unsee it. And Faulty TARDIS says, I always thought it was just a green poster behind him. You could use that as your headcanon, but we know because of this big establishing shot, there is no green poster. The Kiwi Dragon says, just like that, Midnight was ruined for me. I'm sorry. What this was like one of my favourites of the revived series, and now it's like objectively bad now. I'm so sorry. Chat's freaking out. I'm so sorry. Okay.